Welcome all of you. Today we are going to see our next topic, that is demand paging. In last class we have already seen the virtual memory concept. Virtual memory is implemented by two ways, either using the paging technique or by using the segmentation technique. If we are using the paging technique, then it is called demand paging. So basically in this topic we will see how we will implement the virtual memory concept using the paging technique. So as the name suggests, in demand paging we are going to use the basics of paging technique. So as we have already seen in our previous lectures of paging, in paging technique, first, we will divide our main memory into a small or a fixed size of block, and each block is called frames. So basically we have divided the main memory into suppose 16 equal size frames. All these frames needs to be of same size. If a frame 0 is having size suppose 32K, then it means all the frames either from 0 to 615 will have size of 32K. Similarly, as we have divided the main memory into small parts, we divide the logical address space of a process into smaller parts, and each part is referred as a page, and the size of page must be equal to the size of frames in the main memory. As I have discussed, suppose we have created a frame of 32K size, then it means each page of this process will have 32K size. Next, in paging, CPU generates a logical address. The logical address is consists of two components, P and D, where P is the page number and D is the offset. In order to map the logical address with the main memory or physical address, we need to refer a table called page mapping table. The page mapping table has three columns. First column is the value of frame number, means page 0 is loaded into which frame number this record is kept in the page mapping table. Second value is, or second column is, the read write bit or read only bit. This specifies whether a page is only read only or it can be read write. This information is required when we need to swap out any particular page from main memory to the secondary memory. And the third column, this holds the information of uh, called valid or invalid bit, means this column will have a bit, a special bit, which will refer or which will represent that the page is currently loaded into the main memory or not. Means if a page is present in the main memory, then the valid bit is set. If the page is absent in the main memory, then invalid bit is set. So by using this logical address which the CPU has generated, we will find the page number and offset. Page number can be found by the integer division of the logical address and the size of page or size of frame, whereas offset can be found with the help of modulus operator by this page size. So we refer the page mapping table and locate the frame number where this particular page is present. Before referring to the main memory, first the CPU will check, the system will check whether this is valid bit or invalid bit, means whether the page is present in memory or it is absent in the memory. If it is present in the memory, then system will check read only bit or read write bit, whether the bit is read only or write only or read write, means that the user process can change the content of this page or it can be only read only. After reading these two values, if the valid bit is set, then the operating system will fetch the frame number from this and add the offset into this, and we will go to the exact physical location of that page. In case if the page is absent, means here in the valid or invalid bit column it is set invalid bit, then in that case we need to load the page from secondary memory to this primary memory. Now, how this page can be loaded from secondary memory to the primary memory? For this, we use another table in this demand paging concept. This table is called file map table. File map table will have the same size or the same number of entries as we are having in the logical address space. Means if we have divided our process into 8 pages, it means we have divided the processes into 8 entries. So file map table will also contain all the 8 entries. This represents in the secondary memory where these pages are located. So basically, if I am talking to this index position, means page number 0 is located into this position in secondary memory. Similarly, page number 7 is located into this particular memory location in secondary memory. Now, how the execution will proceed in this? We will see with an example. Suppose we are having a process which we have divided into 8 pages and all the pages are presently in the secondary memory. So page number 0 is containing A, page number 1 is containing B, likewise page number 7 is containing H. So first, the role of file map table. File map table will have entries of all these pages where these pages are located in secondary memory. Means page number 0, the address of secondary memory. Page number B or page number 1, the address of this page B in the secondary memory. So it will contain all the addresses of secondary memory for this particular process. Now, as we have discussing demand paging, the core concept of demand paging is this. In case of paging or segmentation, the primary requirement is this: we have to load all the pages into the main memory. Means if I am discussing this with paging or segmentation technique, then in order to execute this process, all these 8 pages must be present in the main memory. whether it is continuous or it can be randomly. But demand paging provide us flexibility because CPU is executing only one instruction at a time. So one instruction is executed at a time, so there is no need to put all the pages into the main memory. We can put only the required pages into the main memory that are required by the system. So in this example, we are assuming that we need 3 pages to load into the main memory. We have loaded 3 pages into the main memory. This page A is loaded into frame 4. Page C is loaded into frame number 6. Page F is loaded into frame number 9. Now, corresponding to these pages, we are having a page mapping table where we have to keep track of these frame numbers. So, page 0 is loaded into frame number 4. So, we have written or the frame number as 4. Page number 2 means C content is loaded into frame number 6. So, here we have written 6. Next, page number 5 means F. F is located into frame number 9. So we have written this as 9. And rest pages we are not loaded. So their frame column is blank. And we will set the read write bit for these pages. And now we have loaded 3 pages in the main memory, so we will set these bits as valid bits for these 3 pages. 4 is present in the main memory, so we have changed this to a valid bit. 6 is present, so it is valid bit. Those pages who are not present in the main memory, we have set invalid bit. I for invalid bit, V for valid bit. Now, the execution will look, suppose CPU has generated an address for page 0. CPU will generate the logical address. Based on this logical address, we will find the page number. Page number is 0. Then we will go to the page mapping table and find whether this page is set as valid or invalid. It is set as valid, so we will move further. We will check whether it is read write bit or read only. After reading this, we will find the frame number of memory, and adding this offset D to this frame number, we will locate the physical memory of this physical location of this particular page. Similarly, CPU has generated a request for page number or page C. Then the page number is 2. Again, we will go to the page mapping table. See, this is set as valid bit. Frame number is 6 and add this offset D into frame number 6 and we will go to this particular physical address. Now suppose there may be a case CPU generates a logical address for this page number B. Then page number is 1. We will go to the page mapping table and corresponding to one page. We have checked. Now the valid bit is set as invalid. Means this page is currently not present in the main memory. So the operating system will generate a trap, and the state of this executing process will be saved into the PCB of a process, and control is transferred to the operating system. Now the operating system will refer the file map table where this particular page B is present in the secondary memory. After locating the page in the secondary memory, it checks in the main memory whether there is a free frame present or not. If there is a free frame, then it will load the content of this page B into a frame that is free in the main memory. After loading the content into the main memory, suppose it has loaded the main memory page of B in the frame number 12 here. So B is loaded into the main memory at frame number 12. Now corresponding to this page B, it will reset the page mapping table. Page mapping table, we have loaded the B into the frame number 12. So this we will change the value of frame number to 12 and set this invalid bit to a valid bit, and again transfer the control to the operating system, from the operating system to this instruction, to this process. Now it will again start executing. Again this will generate the same address. Now corresponding to entry in page mapping table, it is set as valid bit. It is valid. So the after adding the offset into this, we will find that this particular address in the main memory. So this is how we deal with the demand paging. Now these are the execution steps which we have seen in the diagram. First, the processing of an instruction will start and CPU will generate a logical address. Logical address consists of two components, page number and offset. We will compute the page number and offset with this logical address. Page number is calculated by integer division, whereas offset is calculated by modulus operator. After this, finding the page number and offset, we will go to step 4 and check the availability of page in the main memory from the page mapping table with the help of valid and invalid bit. If the valid bit is set, it means page is present in the main memory. If invalid bit is set, it means page is absent in the main memory. Now, after checking this, we will go to step 5. If page is available in main memory, then after adding the offset into frame number, we fetch the data and compute the instruction. Otherwise, if page is absent in main memory, then we will go to step 6. In step 6, we will handle the page fault interrupt. There is a page fault interrupt occurs, we will handle this page fault. So after handling the page fault, again we will go to step 1, means once we have changes the page from bring the page from secondary memory to primary memory, and we have reset the content of page mapping table. Now we will again restart the execution of our job. Again, how or in what are the steps in order to handle the page fault, this we will see with the help of an diagram. Suppose there is an instruction load M generated by CPU. Now first we will go to the page table. In page table we will check whether this is valid or invalid. If it is set invalid, means there is a page fault. In case of page fault, a trap is generated and control is transferred to the operating system. Now, what operating system will do? Operating system will refer the file mapping table, and based on file mapping table, it is able to locate the page on secondary memory. Then after locating the page on secondary memory, it has to bring into the physical memory, means main memory. Now, if there is any free frame available in the main memory, then the particular page is bring into that free frame. If all the locations in the physical memory or all the frames in the physical memory are occupied by some processes, then the page replacement algorithm is used in order to decide that among these frames, which frame can be kept free from this execution of job. So we have to basically, so we have to basically locate the address in the physical memory, load the page into the main memory, and after loading the page in the physical memory, we will reset the page mapping table. After resetting the page mapping table, the instruction will start again. In resetting the page map table means we will copy the frame number in the page table and we will change this invalid bit to valid bit. Once this has done, we will restart the instruction. So that's all with the demand paging. In next class, we will see some numericals based on this demand paging. Now we will discuss few advantages of demand paging. Demand paging gives us a flexibility to load more number of processes, as all the processes are not completely loaded into main memory. We are loading only a small part or a small portion of processes into the main memory. So this means we can able to load more number of process. As we are loading more number of process, this will going to increase the degree of multi-programming, means the number of processes present in the main memory. If more jobs are present in the main memory, then we will use the CPU in more efficient manner. So first advantage is this demand paging will increase the degree of multi-programming. The second most important advantage of this demand paging is this: we can execute a process that is larger than the size of main memory. Means now we are not loading the complete program in order to start its execution. We are loading a small portion of a process and we start the execution of a statement. With the help of demand paging, we are loading a small portion, so it means we can execute a job whose is greater than the size of physical memory. We can say if I am having a physical memory of 1 GB, now if I am using demand paging, I can execute a program of more than 1 GB in this 1 GB physical memory. So this is basically the main two advantages of demand paging. In next lecture, we will see the numericals on demand paging or the some performance criteria of demand paging. Thank you.